Dear ladies, dear gentlemen, good afternoon. Welcome to the CLARA Opening Ceremony. I appreciate your presence immensely. This event is a major milestone, a point that concludes the long journey of preparing the content of the grant, the theoretical elaboration of the ideas at the foundation of which stood the Scientific Advisory Board meetings of our non-profit scientific institute INDRC. The search for a path that could create the conditions for human brain research using the latest advances in machine learning, artificial intelligence and quantum computing was incredibly inspiring. It was about collaboration, cooperation, critical feedback, and new connections between leading experts in their fields. Winning the grant means appreciating the work of the entire team and all its members who participated in preparing the CLARA project content. Now begins a new journey, the stage of implementing the ideas, of translating scientific theory into practice. And again, a period of mutual cooperation. I'm incredibly proud that INDRC is the coordinator of the CLARA project, and I'm very happy about teaming with the CLARA partners, the people who are participating in the project on behalf of the institutes and universities. Over the next 6 years, I'm looking forward to the fruitful outcomes of this collaboration in advancing the possibilities of human brain research, efforts that can impact millions across the globe. And I would like to express my sincere thanks to all the partners and supporters of INDRC who believe that our work is worthwhile. Thank you and all the best.
Dear Excellencies, Ambassadors, dear honorary guests, dear ladies and gentlemen, it's my great pleasure and honor to welcome you on the occasion of official opening of the CLARA project at this facility at the Czech Institute of Informatics, Robotics and Cybernetics of the Czech Technical University. We were supportive and we provided support to INDRC and CLARA project since the very beginning. We were one of the first supporting bodies, and nowadays I have really the privilege to welcome you here and to announce that CIIRC is offering space for CLARA office and for joint lab with CLARA project, because we feel it's the best place to cooperate with. Our institute is fully focused on research in artificial intelligence, and we are one of the big promoters of the European initiative aimed at human-centric AI. We would like to help to human beings, to mankind, and to help with, let's say, diagnostics and treatment of illnesses is of course in the focus of our attention. What we can bring to the mankind when not the opportunities to perform high quality diagnostics and treatment of illnesses. Be as efficient as needed and as we have promised. So interdisciplinary research is in the focus of our attention, and we would like to document that this brings a really useful and potentially enjoyable fruit for all of us. At the end of my very brief speech, I would like to thank the persons who stayed beyond this success, namely Lenka Uldrijanová, director of IAN International Neurodegenerative Disorder Research Center. I would like to thank Vít Dočkal and his team, because he had a very efficient team of collaborators at each of the institutions you mentioned already at the very beginning, and also to our INDRC advisory board. And now I hope this will continue with the advisory board of CLARA project. So I would like to thank these persons. I would like to name at least some of them, like Ara was very useful in critical moments, like Zaven, like Jean-Marie and others. I can name more people, but at least these three persons were deeply engaged in helping us in the, let's say, process of preparing the final document, which was very demanding and very difficult because the documentation was very complicated. Thank you very much for participation in this event. Thank you very much for support provided to CLARA, and I'm looking forward to next meeting with you when you will already report the first report and first positive feedback from our clinics, from our patients, because these are the most important customers to the project. Thank you very much for participating in this event, and enjoy this 2-day conference. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Uldrijanová and Professor Mařík, for your opening remarks. As already mentioned, the joint effort of the 6 partners, 4 Czech research institutes that teamed up with teams from Germany and France, succeeded together and have received substantial funding from the European Commission in the amount of nearly 15 million euro within the Horizon Europe Teaming for Excellence program. This funding paves the way for CLARA to apply for additional complementary funding from the Czech government's program, which will bring the total project budget to an impressive 38 million euros. It's my great pleasure to now extend a special greeting to Mrs. Elisabet Salas Ibanez, Project Advisor at the Research Executive Agency of the European Commission, who will also serve as the Project Officer for the CLARA project. Though she cannot be here with us today in person, we are grateful to have her at least online. And as I can see, she is already here with us. So now I invite you, Mrs. Ibanez, to address the audience.
Okay, great. Thank you. As I was saying, good afternoon, everyone. And first of all, congratulations for having this funding for the Center of Excellence, CLARA. I'm Elisabet Salas, the project officer that was in charge of the grant agreement preparation. And I just wanted I will share my screen and I will present you some aspects of the widening program, in particular the teaming actions, and how a project like a teaming project is followed up by the European Commission once this is funding. So I will share my screen now. I hope it will work. Yes, let's come. Can you? I hope you can see it. I put it in the presentation mode. I cannot see you, so if you cannot hear me or if you don't see anything, please just let me know. Everything is okay?
Yes. Yes, everything is fine. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Thanks for the feedback. I will, first of all, there are many slides, but I'm not going to speak in detail about all of them, because I will share with you this presentation that will serve as a kind of quick guideline on how to manage or how to follow up the grant and all the processes, the report, the amendments, etc. So first of all, I will, as mentioned before, I will just explain some figures about the Horizon Europe and teaming action. Afterwards, I will explain which are the roles within this European granting environment, the project life cycle, how to report to the Commission, and some financial aspects and amendments. And later on, I will just provided a flavor of other key aspects as the obligation to the open access and the communication, dissemination, etc. But as said, I hide some slides, but you will have the whole presentation for you. I will send to Vít afterwards. In terms of policy context, you know that the widening actions, including teaming, is a cross-cutting funding scheme together with the widening participation and the reforming and enhancing the European research and innovation system in the current framework program Horizon Europe. In particular, the widening program objectives are to support the less advanced research and innovation countries to strengthen their research and innovation performance, to increase their participation in other transnational networks, and to get and for them to be able to obtain greater research outcomes and to get more funding. The key elements of the teaming actions, as you know, are to promote the research and innovation excellence. They already every center of excellence is funded as well via the complementary funding, and the impact of the project and the KPIs are crucial. The center of excellence must be or should be autonomous across and along the duration of the project, legally, administrative, operational, etc. There should be an international dimension in the recruitment and the human resources strategy, and very, very important and not always easy to have a long-term self-sustainability. And all these key elements will be scrutinized at every review after each reporting period. What are the expected outcomes of a teaming project? To increase the scientific capabilities of the country, to engage in a strategic growth path, and to promote the economic development. Once these capabilities are already improved, then the chances to seek competitive funding, not only in the EU, but in international fora, will as well be improved. And by improving the R&I culture with indicators like research intensity, innovation performance, value towards the research and the innovation, and very important as well, to achieve the two-way benefit from and to the advanced partner. This is a synergy. The benefits don't go only from the advanced partners to the coordinator. This is a map where are representing more than 50 centers of excellence already funded in both H2020 and Horizon Europe framework programs. And in the color, the shade of blues, violet, you can see the range of million euros each country has received with the project that is involved. And with the orange circles, is shown the coordinator budget, so the widening country. As you see in the Horizon 2020, we funded 24 teaming centers of excellence, and so far in Horizon Europe, 27 teaming centers of excellence has been funded, and we expect that approximately 18 teaming centers of excellence will be funded in the next 2025 call. In the current call, where CLARA has been successful, there were 34 submitted proposals in the second stage. 1 was inadmissible, ineligible, and 12 were main listed. 3 remained in the reserve list, and 1 has been funded recently. The type of organization of the retained proposals are mainly research organization and higher education, as you can see in the figure. Concerning the thematic fields in the Horizon Europe teaming projects, you can see that CLARA is included in the group where we have more project, which is a very broad range of medicine, but included under the therapies, personalized medicine, neuroscience, and healthcare. And engineering, it's also a field that it's heavily involved, and the projects are heavily involved also at the Center of Excellence funded in the Horizon Europe teaming projects. There are more figures and more maps, success rates, but you will have it with the presentation. But my time is limited, and I wish as well to explain a bit about the grant management. You are in charge of the project management, and we are responsible of the grant management, how the project is progressing. As you already know, very likely, the project life cycle, according to the Research Executive Agency view, it's that first of all, there is a call for proposals, and we organize the evaluation. There is, with a selection of experts in the field, we conduct and we perform the evaluation, and we select the best proposals. These proposals go for the grant agreement preparation, and they are signed, the contract is signed from both sides, the Commission and the coordinator institution. Afterwards, we will have the reporting monitoring after each reporting period, but you will see that there is also a continuous reporting, and finally, there will be the final payment and the closure of the project. These are all active links, so you can, it's very useful because, for instance, one of the key tips that I would like to share is that everything, all the administrative procedures are in this online manual in the Funding and Tenders portal. So you will find everything related to the grant management, but I'm always at your disposal in order to help you should you have any question or doubt. The Funding and Tenders portal, this is just a screenshot on how it looks. You are familiar already, most of you, because you have been contributing to the proposal. And in the portal, you have several types of information, the process description in the current process in which you are working, the key project data on the left, all the tools, active processes, latest legal data regarding to your project, Horizon Europe business information, etc. Very important as well is the IT environment. Sometimes there are some issues, there are some maintenance of the systems, and there are troubleshootings. So here you can have in this link on how to do anything related to your grant from an IT point of view. And as well the help desk, very important. The project reporting. As mentioned before, there is 2 types. From our side, we have 2 types of reporting. The continuous reporting that opens at the start of the project. It remains open until the end. And this is the regular updating. in the system. When you are achieving milestones, when you are submitting the deliverables on time, risk, publications, communications, this is continuous. You don't have to wait until the end of the reporting period to submit all these documents. And it creates the part A of the periodic technical report when the time of the reporting comes. For any, this is the, if there is one takeaway message, is that please contact me for any important changes or updates or problems or issues, whatever. It's better to inform me in advance than not to wait, and I will be happy to help. The periodic reporting, it's divided into the different reporting periods. In your case, it's 72-month project, 4 reporting periods. Each reporting period is linked to a payment. So in order to be paid after each reporting period, you will have to submit template provided in the portal, technical report part A, already created with the continuous reporting, and the part B, which is a file, a template, and of course the financial reports. There will be an on-site review meeting with myself, and in general there are 2 experts that are monitoring the progress of the project. And these reporting periods and all the environment and the timeline is prompted automatically by the system. This is a layout of how the reporting period is divided, the 4 reporting periods. After each reporting period, you have 60 days to submit all the reports, and the review normally takes place 2 months after the end of each reporting period. And in this reporting period, you submit, there are revisions, explanations, we meet, and if everything is okay, all the documents are received, we accept, and I myself will start the initiation of the payment. Which are the roles? Which are the people involved in a review? There is the consortium, of course, at least one representative of each beneficiary, the project officer, and 2 expert monitors. The expert monitors provide external independent feedback to us, and they bring scientific and technical knowledge. In the case of the teaming, they are really highly experienced experts. And during the review meeting, there will be a session of question and answers. It's like an exchange of views, and it really helps a lot the consortium, because usually they have very good ideas or recommendations on how to improve some of the weakest points. So it's really an exchange, a good exchange. After the review, the expert monitors prepare a review report, and then there will be a final decisions with the recommendations taken by the research executive agency, and you have 30 days to respond to the review findings if you don't agree with anything that is included in this report. Mainly, what will be reviewed? We need to comply with the grant agreement, the Article 25 on the reporting to the Commission, and as said before, the work plan, deliverables, objectives, resources, how the project has been managed, the social scientific impact, etc. Some tips on this reporting. And I won't read all these points, but I would like just to highlight 3 of them. Is again, please keep me informed about anything. Don't be afraid to ask, even if you think that they are silly questions. They are not, for sure. And do not hide the problems. It's useless. And please explain very, very well in the technical report after each reporting period the deviations. It's normal that in a project such as a teaming project, there might be deviation. It's normal. They should be explained in the section. There is a dedicated section in the report, in the technical report, and prepared very well, and discuss any problems in advance. and among you, all the beneficiaries. Regarding the financial aspects and amendments to the grant agreement, I just wanted to remind you that our funding, the EU funding, supports the startup and implementation phase of the Center of Excellence, including recruitment of the managers, technical and scientific staff. And there is a minor research component that can be accepted, not exceeding the 10% of the total budget. In general, the first infrastructure cost and the majority of equipment costs and consumables are usually funded by the complementary funding. The eligible cost must be incurred by the beneficiary during the action, should be connected to the actions, identifiable and verifiable via your accounting practices, compliant with national law, reasonable and financially sound. In the link of the annotated model grant agreement, you will find all these, but much detail. We divide the cost in purchase cost and in subcontracting, and these are the main characteristics. The purchase cost should be contracts which are necessary for the beneficiaries to always implement the work of the project. There should be best value for money or lowest price, of course, without conflict of interest. The details for purchase cost exceeding the 15% of the personnel cost must be included in Annex 1. And there is budget flexibility. It means that transfer between participants and budget categories are allowed without an amendment to the grant agreement. There is budget flexibility, but it's limited. So first, please ask the project officer. And for the subcontracting, if you need to subcontract any task, they are the subcontractors implement action task of the description of the action. And again, best value for money, no conflict of interest. And if it's not foreseen, in principle, is not eligible. But again, please tell me, we can discuss about this. There are several types of amendments. They are normally they are launched by the coordinator. We can also initiate amendments, but in general, it's you when you need it, when you are launching the amendments. But before doing anything in the portal, normally we discussed, and I provide you like a pre-agreement that everything is okay, seems to be fine. You have all the justifications for doing that amendment, then you can launch the amendment. So I will. It's give you a green light to launch it, because administratively speaking is very hard, a lot of things. So it's better to talk before and to discuss, and then you can launch it. And these are all the cases when you can launch the amendment. The other aspects I was mentioning at the beginning are the gender equality plans that are mandatory for public bodies, research organizations, and higher education establishments, and private for-profit organizations, SMEs, NGOs, and CSOs are not concerned. And in the Horizon Europe framework program, the open access is mandatory, and the open access to data as well, for publications and for data. Data should be deposited in a trusted repository in line with the FAIR principles, and the data management plan is a compulsory deliverable. And there are exceptions in terms of deposit the data. You can see as well the model grant agreement. and it's not mandatory to share data and the data to be open when there are legitimate interests as commercial exploitation, patents, or other constraints. We say that as open as possible, as closed as necessary. And finally, just I would like to share with you other links and tools that are at your disposal to improve the communication, dissemination, and exploitation that are also obligations in the grant agreement, in the Article 5 and 17. In this slide, you have several tools that could be helpful for you to share the progress of the project, the impact, achievements, milestones, help like with Innovation Radar and Horizon Impact Award, etc. You can contact me at any time if you need more information about it. And this is all from my side. I just leave here some useful links, and I will be happy to take any question, or even we can organize a phone call. And because you are now very busy, you have a lot of points in the agenda, and I don't want to keep you more time. So thank you very much. And yeah, if you have questions, I'll be happy to take them. If not, congratulations again, and thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mrs. Ibanez, for your insightful presentation. Is there anyone who has any questions? Okay, it looks like we don't have any questions in the moment. Oh. We have one.
Yeah, well,
Just
maybe not a question, but I just wanted to thank the European Commission and particularly Elisabet for his planning and instrumental help in the whole process, you know. So thank you, Elisabet, for the whole consortium for your work. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much also for your time today and for the presentation you had here for us. And we can continue in our program. As we already mentioned before, there are many exceptional minds involved in this project. Many people has worked on the project already. Started working on this project already 2 years ago, and they will still work in this project in the future. Teams are really fully equipped, are really great minds, but I'm not the one who will introduce the teams to us. There is someone else who has more information. It's Mr. Vít Dočkal, Interim Director of the CLARA Center. Please welcome him here on stage. Thank you.
Okay. First, I need to tidy up, you know. Thank you very much. You know, I'm very proud of this moment. You know, it's really cool. You know that this project has been awarded and actually one of top 3 in Europe. You know, so congratulations to the whole team. You know, and let me please introduce who is behind that. You know, we already mentioned our partners, but what I would like to add that it's the success is derived from the consortium of trust. You know. It's an ecosystem of trust which grows out of mutual interest, benefits, and friendship. Over these years, you know, we really made a great friendship, you know. And actually, we established a new strengths, you know, new fields of research. I would never imagine that, you know, these 2 guys, for example, Jiří and Jožka, would meet together and they set up a new program, you know. And it actually was very beneficial for both of your groups, yeah? And this is actually a role model for the whole CLARA. Now we can leverage your great success, you know, to other research programs and, you know, follow that practice. So we don't have 3 research programs, basically, but 1 unified vision across all disciplines. But actually, these, I'm not sure, but I should be here or somewhere, maybe here. So the scientific team members for INDRC, the kind of coordinator, are as follows, you know. So our Khachaturian, Zaven Khachaturian, and of course Jean-Marie Boutet. These are key players in this game in CLARA for INDRC. And we are happy that actually these, gentlemen actually are providing us also the connection overseas, because they have an affiliation also in the United States of America, which actually really make us international, not only European. It's very important because the fight against the pandemic of neurodegeneration actually is a fight of whole globe, so we just need to ally the forces. And this is the team of CIIRC, Czech Technical University, the Czech Institute of Informatics, Robotics and Cybernetics, Václav Křemen, Josef Šivic, Jiří Sedlář, and Eva Doležalová. And you have an opportunity to actually meet up with them informally in a few moments, in a couple of hours. Then our distinguished partner from Ostrava, VSB Technical University of Ostrava, Professor Václav Snášel, Dr. Vít Vondrák, and Dr. Jan Martinovič as well. ICRC, St. Anne's University Hospital, together with distinguished teams from Masaryk University as well. Professor Jiří Damborský and Stas Mazurenko, of course, many others as well. And Paris Brain Institute, Professor Olivier Couliot with his team. And actually, it's a very good point because, CLARA is a joint venture of these institutions, but basically it's a second iteration of this collaboration because, for example, Paris Brain Institute is a joint venture of Sorbonne, CENRES, and the hospital in Paris. So you see, and also the Bavarian Academy of Science, it's the same, So we were trying to put the knowledge and expertise also at the level of the partners and gathering them under the umbrella of CLARA as well. And LRZ, Leibniz Supercomputing Centrum, we have Laura Schulz and Stefan Hachninger present here. Stefan is there. And this is our distinguished board, the CLARA Supervisory Board. And I'm very happy that the presence of ladies is actually a majority now. So we're really keen on the gender balance, although this is a little bit disbalanced now, but of course we will have another members in the future. So let me introduce them. The chairwoman is Lenka Uldrijanová. We have Petra Mikešová from CIIRC, Václav Snášel from the partner in Ostrava, Michal Janota from ICRC, Nino Burgos from PBI, and Laura Schulz from LRZ, Leibniz Supercomputing Center. So this is the team. And, but it's not a closed club, We are open for collaboration. And I would say that, the coordinator is a private non-profit institute, which is open for others to come and join, we are inviting other members to join the institute and to really perform and contribute to CLARA and other projects which will be implemented in the future. So thank you very much. And I give the floor to Ara Khachaturian, who is going to present the CLARA vision to you. Thank you very much.
Okay, good afternoon. Your Excellency, distinguished members of the Czech national government, esteemed ambassadors of Armenia, Germany, the United States, and their representatives, representative of the European Commission, officials from the city of Prague, and esteemed colleagues from the Czech Institute of Informatics, Robotics, Cybernetics at the Czech National University, and also collaborators and friends. Thank you. Thank you all. Your presence here today is a testament to the bonds among our nations, our shared values, and our commitment to social burdens due to the incurable brain disorders that affect cognition, behavior, and function. We're deeply grateful for your dedication to fostering this collaboration at an international level and for your public service. Thank you. As we embark on our program today, let us draw inspiration from the collective wisdom and vision of the representatives in this room. With the launch of the CLARA project, we have a unique opportunity to transform the lives of individuals affected by Alzheimer's disease, dementia, and other related neurodegenerative disorders. As noted earlier, together, we can ensure that the timely access to effective treatments, care transcends both geographical and intellectual boundaries, bringing benefits to all. Understanding something deeply requires more than just reading the facts. It's about experiencing its full richness and complexity, just like music. The brain is not a collection of isolated notes on a page, but a living, dynamic system that has a requirement to think about it as a symphony, to see and to feel the many parts come together. So I have a question for everybody this evening. Imagine being handed the librettos of Bedřich Smetana's Wallenstein Camp's symphonic poem, Gustav Mahler's 5 songs on a poem by Friedrich Ruckert, and Anton Bruckner's Symphony No. 7. The combined librettos would be about 20 to 35 pages. If bound, probably weigh about 1 kilogram. Essentially, these are all the notes necessary to understand these 3 pieces. Or, it's November 13th, 2024. It's 7:30 p.m. You're not here. You find yourself in the capital of the Czech Republic, but down the way, attending a concert at Smetana Hall, located within the Municipal House, renowned for its Art Nouveau architecture. The hall features Slavic motifs, a decorated stained glass ceiling, gilded lamps, and a magnificent organ, so I've been told. You go to see Jan Palant, conductor, known for his dynamic style, conducting, his expressive gestures. You can also hear and see Philip Bandazak, baritone with a commanding stage presence and a baritone voice, and an expressive delivery, and of course, hear the very famous Czech National Symphony Orchestra. So, by raise of hands, which would you rather do? That's the difference between studying brain and truly understanding its complexity. Brain health isn't just a list of facts, it's a living, dynamic symphony. Today, let's dive into why grasping that complexity is essential to unlocking real progress in brain health. As you all know, complexity is all around us, but we often overlook it. We typically do not think about all of the engineering and physics necessary to play a musical instrument. It's how those parts interact, adapt, evolve together. The brain is a perfect example of something like that. It's not just billions of neurons firing away. It's the constant orchestration of signals, balancing speed and precision, flexibility and accuracy, moment by moment. Complexity means that small changes can ripple into big effects. And sometimes the most important part isn't what's obvious, but what's hidden in the connections. Understanding complexity is essential for solving problems like brain health, where everything is interconnected. So, this is the story of neurodegeneration, a gradual breakdown of the brain's intricate systems. In Alzheimer's disease, the issue isn't a single factor or an instrument out of tune, but a cascading system of failures. So the obvious question then is, what is Alzheimer's? Okay, Alzheimer's is a disease that slowly damages the brain. It makes us hard for people to remember things, to think clearly, or even to take care of themselves. Over time, they lose the ability to do things that they used to be able to do. And we know it's associated with changes in the brain. There's these things called sticky clumps, plaques. There's also these tangles. But what we don't fully understand is when it starts, why it happens, and how to stop it. For a vast majority of the people, we do not know the initial cause or causes of the disease. We know that neurons lose their ability to repair, communicate, and power themselves, much like musicians losing their sheet music or unable to hear one another, or worse, losing the venue for a performance. And this is the key point. Understanding Alzheimer's disease means more than isolating a single problem in one musician when a performance is bad. It requires us to see the entire orchestra, its interactions, its timing, its dependencies, and the symphony it creates. So, as scientists and doctors, we have been trying to solve big problems like Alzheimer's disease, Parkinson's disease, and other disorders that impair memory, movement, and mood for over 40 years. There are still no 100% effective cures or meaningful options to stop the progression. One reason is that the brain is incredibly complex, and current research often focuses on a single part or region of the brain without perspective of looking at the whole symphony. When you hear a terrible performance, what are you thinking about? To tackle this, a new project, our project, CLARA, is being launched. Think of it as a brilliant conductor in a concert hall. CLARA doesn't just focus on one instrument or one section of the orchestra. Instead, it listens to the whole symphony, making sure that every part works together in harmony and in tempo. This conductor uses advanced tools like artificial intelligence and quantum computing to create models, like a musical score, that help us understand how the brain performs, how it might go out of tune, and more importantly, how we can bring it back into rhythm. As a starting point for our initial focus is something called calcium signaling. Calcium signaling plays a vital role in both body and brain function. In the body, it helps muscles contract, keep the heart beating, and supports processes like hormone release and signaling, enabling communication between neurons and supports memory and learning. And this helps maintain cell health. Calcium signals in the neuron act like a cue from the director, helping the instruments, the various subsystems of the neuron, play together in time. But if the calcium signals are too strong or too weak, it's like the orchestra playing off key, which can lead to problems like Alzheimer's disease and, quite frankly, other neurodegenerative disorders. By studying how calcium signaling works across all parts of the brain and using cutting-edge technology that we hope to develop with the CLARA team, we think that we're going to find better ways to keep brain cells in tune and performing beautifully longer, perhaps even as long as 100 years. So, our goal is twofold. It's to create a tool that scientists everywhere can use to study and treat brain diseases more effectively. But it's also to create a tool that everyone can use to better understand and better communicate how complex systems such as brain works and perform. It's like building the ultimate musical score for the brain that everyone can share and improve. This tool must be built upon high performance and quantum computing because of the complexity of the brain, cannot be captured through traditional methods. The brain operates as an intricate, multidimensional system where trillions of connections fire in dynamic, nonlinear patterns. So understanding this requires computational models capable of simulating and analyzing interactions at scales beyond the reach of standard technologies. Quantum computing, with its unparalleled potential to process vast amounts of data and model intricate systems, provides that provision and speed necessary to decode the orchestra of the brain. High-performance computing complements this by enabling large-scale simulations and real-time data integration, ensuring that the tool not only analyzes, but also predicts how changes in one area of the brain ripples across the entire system. Without these cutting-edge technologies, the vision of creating a universal musical score for the brain would remain an impossible dream. So, imagine a world where the immense complexity of Alzheimer's research is unlocked not by inaccessible jargon or endless technical details, but through clear, simple, and actionable ideas that connect with everyone. This means scientists, clinicians, policymakers, and families alike. This isn't just about writing better papers or attending fancy meetings. It's about creating a bridge between the many different public health, scientific, medical, engineering disciplines, as well as connections to people who need it the most. Everyday families who face the devastating effects of Alzheimer's, and they deserve the solutions driven by research that is not siloed by a single discipline. By rethinking how we communicate, we can ensure that groundbreaking discoveries don't get lost in translation, or worse, discarded or thrown away due to orthodox thinking or intellectual self-aggrandizement. To solve complex brain disorders, we need new tools that drive real, life-changing impact for those affected by these relentless diseases. We also need a new knowledge platform that allows us to better communicate this complex phenomenon. Just as the advent of Arabic numerals transformed mathematics, making multiplication so simple even a child could perform it, compared to the inaccessible complexity of Roman multiplication, we must find ways to simplify and democratize how we share and understand complex scientific knowledge. Now, imagine this. The future breakthroughs in Alzheimer's research, those that will change lives, rewrite the trajectory of neurodegenerative research and disease, and bring hope to millions, depends on the brilliance of young minds sitting in high school rooms and college classrooms today. But how can they rise to this challenge if our education system doesn't inspire them to see themselves as future scientists, engineers, clinicians, and innovators? The complexity of conditions like Alzheimer's disease demands researchers who not only think deeply, but also think differently. To meet this demand, we must transform how we teach STEM, science, technology, engineering, and mathematics in secondary schools. We need to spark curiosity, build confidence, and show students that they can play a vital role in tackling some of the biggest challenges of our time. By working with groups such as Bricks for Kids, the CLARA project supports redesigning STEM programs to be engaging, inclusive, rooted in real-world impact. It is a critical focus for us to recruit, train, retain the next generation of researchers, because the cure for Alzheimer's may not just lie in today's laboratories. It might be waiting to be discovered by a teenager who's just starting to dream about what's possible. Alzheimer's disease is just like other disorders that affect cognition, behavior, and function. It's not just a problem for individuals. It's a growing challenge for families, healthcare systems, and society as a whole. We need to rethink how we study and understand the brain, embracing its complexity as we develop innovative tools like the CLARA platform. By uniting cutting-edge technologies with a deeper understanding of the brain's interconnected systems, we can create a future where breakthroughs in diagnosis, treatment, prevention, and care transforms lives. Alzheimer's and other neurodegenerative diseases are among the most complex challenges we face today, requiring solutions that are as multifaceted as the brain itself. The CLARA project represents the intersection of disciplines uniting neuroscience, quantum computing, medicine, artificial intelligence, and public health and systems biology to create a bold, collaborative approach to understanding and combating these diseases. Imagine a future where quantum computing accelerates discovery, AI uncovers patterns that were never identified before, and collaboration across fields and continents transforms how we approach brain health. That future is within reach, but only if we come together. I invite you to join us in this journey and to help unlock the potential of these transformative technologies. Together, we can not only study the brain, but truly understand it, and in doing so, change the lives of millions for generations to come. Thank you. So we are now going to bring my collaborators, my friends, and quite frankly, my brothers and sisters in this project, because as Vít said, this has been a very transformative experience. This is not something that we have experienced, I think, in many group research projects, and I think the potential to do something very, very different is now. So, gentlemen, would you please join me on stage? We're going to have a little bit of a sort of a talk show type of conversation about the CLARA project, and as you will see, we are a very informal bunch, generally speaking. Please sit anywhere, and we're going to get started. And terrific. What's important to note here is that we have for about 2 years almost interacted almost exclusively on Zoom calls. We don't necessarily sort of recognize ourselves without the relevant boxes around ourselves, but nevertheless, it's been a great pleasure over the last week to sort of meet and see everybody in life. So I'm going to ask Yuri maybe to sort of start off and perhaps maybe give a personal perspective of what drew you to the CLARA project, and how do you see this shaping up over the next 6 years?
Okay. Good evening, everyone. Thank you for giving me opportunity to start. I think CLARA brings nice opportunities for collaboration, and I'm big fan and supporter of collaborations. In our research team, we have 4 teams which are in very diverse areas. It's AI, it's enzyme kinetics, it's structural biology and bioinformatics. And this works very well for many problems which we try to address. But I think the challenge which we want to tackle by CLARA is much bigger than what we can do within our team. So we are very pleased to collaborate already for a couple of years with the team of Josef Šivec from CIIRC. And this is very fortunate because in our domain, combining AI with protein engineering, it's becoming a big mainstream. As you might know, Nobel Prize this year was awarded exactly for this field, Nobel Award in chemistry. We also collaborate for a couple of years with IT for Innovations, which is now hosting all our tools which we provide worldwide. So we have already a small network, and we hope that within CLARA we will expand further also to US teams and France and Germany. So that's my perspective.
Thank you so much. Speaking of France, we have Olivier and Jean-Marie here on the far right. Olivier, you're leading one of our second projects. Maybe you could give us sort of your perspective on what has excited you about the CLARA project and the potential going forward.
Yes, so thank you very much. Good evening, everyone. Yeah, before starting talking about science, I would just like, yes, to add that it's really a pleasure after 2 years. Now I can cancel my 4 p.m. Wednesday Zoom call that has been going on for 2 years. But it was still a pleasure, but it's better in person. Okay, jokes aside. What is really exciting in these research programs is that, I started working on machine learning and AI for brain disorders about 20 years ago. And we are just, at this moment, it was a sort of playground. We were like thinking, can we do this? But there was no real clinical application. And I feel that now we are at a moment where it's no longer a playground. It's something that can really lead to real breakthrough. And why is that so? And why is it possible in the CLARA project? I think there are some very important components. First, and I think this is quite unique, in CLARA, we go beyond scales and beyond specific modalities. So AI has worked on, let's say, images, scenes, etc. I think the first time we are going to bring these different scales together to tackle what you described as the complexity. So I think that's particularly exciting. So that's about the concept. And to make the concept real, then you need to have the means to achieve it. And through this fantastic opportunity to collaborate with experts in supercomputing and quantum computing, I think we can leverage the computational power that will allow us to use diverse enough data sets to achieve this.
So, yeah, there we go. Thank you. No, that's really important. And, in terms of the issue of complexity, Jean-Marie, you and I have been collaborators for a very long time. And, you were one of the first people really to sort of introduce this idea of really thinking about how to talk about complexity across different scales of time and space. And what have you seen as sort of a development of this as an idea for new analytical tools, not just for brain research, but really for the study of complexity across many different disciplines?
Hello. So to me, what's exciting with CLARA is that we're tackling a problem that is extremely complex. When you try to find a solution to something like this, you may not succeed, but what we're doing here is we're bringing together a lot of experts from many different fields. We're using the latest technologies to tackle that problem. And I think in doing so, we're really giving ourselves the best chances. And not only that, it's an open platform. So again, this is something that's extremely complex. A lot of very bright people have tried to find a solution for decades, and they haven't succeeded. Now, with the latest tools, we can not only move further, but we will also, through CLARA, keep that portal open, keep the doors open so that we can have help from the entire scientific community to find those solutions.
Thank you. For everybody, Joseph is perhaps one of the most interesting people I've met in the last 2 years in terms of his absolute brilliance, but perhaps also a level of criticality that he brought to the CLARA project. On these Wednesday phone calls, it was Joseph that really held our feet to the fire. And so now is an opportunity for me to return the favor. Joseph, what is your hope for a singular major breakthrough over the next 5-6 years, maybe 3 years?
In the context of the CLARA project, I assume.
Of course.
Yeah. So, first of all, it's great to be here and really kickstart this project after all the preparation and see everyone in person after all this work. Maybe just to give, because some of you maybe know the project in detail, some maybe don't. So I'll just give to answer this question. I'll just say, to see these RP1, RP2, RP6. So we structure the project into what we call research programs, and there's research program 1, 2, and 3, and they are really, what's exciting about the CLARA project, they are really looking at the neurodegeneration on these very different scales. So in the RP1, the research program 1 with Jiří, we are looking at the molecular level, at the biomolecules in the brain, the proteins, and how they interact. And we are going to use or develop new tools to study, to map these interactions. Now I'm going to say this, the third one, the disease is studied on the level of a cell, on a cellular level. So it's a very different scale. That's why people talk about different scales. And then in the second one, Olivier and Václav are going to study the clinical data, how these mechanisms which we are looking at the molecular cell level, how they correlate, how they interact with the clinical measurements from the patient. And I think that's what one of the most exciting things in the CLARA is, that we are doing these things together, and we are going to look at these patterns at these very different scales. And I think that's where potential breakthrough can lie in, is that we are looking both at the molecular mechanics, at the cellular effects, and then we are looking for evidence in the real patient data, where I think we can really make a significant progress. And the second part, it's sort of to complement, I think the tools which you are going to develop, combining these different computational techniques I think there is really, my specialty is machine learning, artificial intelligence. I think those tools can really accelerate some of these things, which, just to give an example, computational chemistry, computation can take a week on a supercomputer. We can do these things in a sort of orders of magnitude faster. So at the moment, using machine learning. So I think we can really are on the cusp of making major progress on some of these problems. Thank you.
Thank you. So one of the issues that always seems to come up in conversations around artificial intelligence, machine learning, deep learning, and advanced computing, and I think this is an issue for many governments to be concerned about. In the US, we know that the Department of Commerce has put together a risk management framework for the implementation of AI. And one of the issues that comes up in terms of trying to develop these technologies that come out of the CLARA project is maybe not so much the validity of these technologies, but actually how can we get healthcare providers, more importantly patients, to trust these technologies. AI, like big data maybe 10 years ago, is sort of this vague term. But does anybody have any perspectives on what CLARA can do to sort of help drive trust and transparency and demystifying a little bit around what AI represents and really trying to bring forward the fact that these are tools?
You want me? Can you hear me? I'm just an engineer and neuroscientist, This is a big living in two countries, essentially. No, I'm really glad. I have to second what has been said here. I'm really grateful, and all these Wednesday meetings were very much fun, very inspiring, and very challenging from multiple aspects. And I'm glad that we got through 2 stages process and got this funding here. I think from my perspective, we are bringing tools to patients from the engineering and machine learning AI perspective, something transformative for the care of the patients, but if it's transformative, it must be well accepted by the patients. So we've run through the hurdles of, trying different, weird construction of systems and mobile phones giving the patients with weird, things. They have to charge the devices. They have different, aspects of it. And we try to explain them that it's necessary to do it for the research purposes, but I feel like this field here and this expertise and collegium of experts and the whole CLARA project is a really good vehicle to start communicating the new field and new aspects of computational science that can be brought through, neuroscience and other aspects to the patients to transform the care and to make it nice for the patients and usable for the patients, get rid of all these big things that they have to do at home and make it simpler for them and, let them have some tools that help them to orient in the life, how they feel, how their cognition progresses, how it can be changed, and all with kind of like nature aspects of their life. Like everyone's using mobile phones, everyone's using, a lot of people using smartwatches and stuff like that. So maybe bringing this closer to the patients will help us too. And communication, I think, will be really important here. So I hope that CLARA project will have a lot of options and tools to communicate this to the people.
Well, yeah, certainly, this idea of communicating, I think that is something central to what we had submitted to the European Commission and really sort of represents a central aim for the project going forward, that publishing every step of the way from high-level vision to implementation to methods to results, ultimately really trying to create a transparency so that it's not that jargon mentioned earlier, that this is something that is easily absorbed. Václav, you've been involved in computer science for many years. You're a leader. This is something new in terms of really trying to advance computational engineering as well as the applications of new computational methods. What do you see as some of the big challenges that we as a team are going to have to overcome, particularly as we are moving from high performance computing to quantum computing? And
for me, one big problem for computer science today is scaling of the data. Because if we have small data, we can put our data to Euclidean space and analyze this data in Euclidean space. Is something, if we want to go from Prague to Berlin, Euclidean geometry is enough. If you want to go from Prague to New York, we need spherical geometry. If we want to go from Prague to Mars or Jupiter, we need Riemannian geometry based on theory of relativity. If we have small data, Euclidean geometry is enough. Now the question is, what is good space where we put our data before start analyze this data? And the current problem in computer science more and more discuss what is appropriate space, what is appropriate geometry and topology of our data. And if we imagine complexity of brain, this is one of the big challenge. And one answer, how we can trust the result. We can trust the result when we understand why we get this result. This is one of the key points. So for me, is exciting possibility, try to work together and analyze and discover methods, how we can understand big data, how we can understand what is geometry and topology of big data, and how we can develop some new algorithm in this new topology and geometry. Thank you.
Thank you. So full disclosure, Zavin Khachaturian is with us. He's my father. He has the distinction of being recognized as the founder of the International Alzheimer's movement. He started that in 1977. But you actually came to Washington during, I think, the first George Washington administration, or was it the second? I forget. Okay. So I'll pay for that later. Don't worry. So Zabin, you've been watching this this program develop. You've seen a lot of centers and center activities develop. What do you see as some of the biggest challenges that confront us over the next 6 years, and where are going to be some of the great opportunities for us to move this in a different direction from other projects that have been started?
Well, I'd like to put the CLARA project in a context of the evolution of research on the brain. I would say 90% of what we know about the brain was learned during the last 50 years. I started becoming interested in brain research in the 1950s. At that time, the tools were very limited to study the brain. You could study it after autopsy by staining and with microscope. Electron microscope was just coming about, which would allow you to analyze in great detail. The limitations of the field depended on the types of stains that were available. Then the next tool that became available was the microelectrode. These were electrodes pulled into a 1 micron that you could go into an individual neuron, and if the amplifiers were tube amplifiers, transistor wasn't discovered, you could record the electrical activity within a single neuron. That was considered great breakthrough. That was going to solve all the problems. Gradually, as the field moved, the techniques and methods for study the brain became more elaborate, became chemical analysis became available. We could study the chemicals that allow the transmission. Then the molecular biology, genetics became available. So we consistently developed tools and techniques for studying the brain. Now the problem is that throughout all that evolution, as I said, we have learned quite a bit, but we never really appreciated the complexity of the problem. We always promised that the next phase, if we were able to map the human genome, we were going to solve all the problems. Well, we mapped the genome, but we didn't solve any of the diseases. So there was always a promise around the corner. The problem was that as we developed these techniques, we used one technique that's very common in science. That is, you start with a complex problem and you reduce it in smaller parts to study into finer detail. So this technique is called reductionism, which has been very useful in science, to start with a complex system, go into the molecule. It's like looking at a impressionistic painting that uses pointillism, and you study in greater detail the individual points. You study the color, the chemistry of the color, where the location is, but you don't get to see the picture. The human brain, when you step away from analyzing all those points, the human brain is able to connect those points into a picture. But the chemical analysis, scientific analysis, doesn't give you that full picture. We're at that point, we're at the point in science now, in brain science, where we have a credible amount of information about the individual details of the molecular basis, genetic basis of the brain, but we cannot connect the dots. So that's the process. The essence of this CLARA project is to give us the tool for connecting the dots. How do you go from the complexity that Ara talked about to identify how in complex system emergent behavior comes about. Emergent behavior is characteristics of complex system, cognition, personality. Large number of neuropsychiatric symptoms are really emergent behaviors. They cannot be explained by simple analysis of the anatomy of the brain or the molecular biology of the brain. Those are integral parts of it, but they're not the full picture. How do you go from understanding the molecular sequence of a protein into the secondary structure, into tertiary structure? Well, I used to use that as an example up to a month ago, saying that you cannot predict the tertiary structure of a protein by analyzing the amino acid sequence. But that argument was taken away by the Nobel Prize in chemistry, was given for the ability using AI to predict the tertiary structure of the protein. Now we have to go to the next level of complexity, use AI to be able to put together explanation, how do we go in the other direction? That is from the simple into the complex. That's the beauty and the essence of this approach. The problem so far has been the dilemma of the Martians that land on the football field. The game football is being played between Czech Republic team and the German team. And the Martians land and they want to figure out the rules by which the game is being played. They immediately divide into two groups. One group decides they're going to take images of the audience. They're going to record the sound of the audience. Another group decides, well, that's too gross. We're going to develop individual microphones and record the sound of individuals in the audience, the sounds they're making. By analyzing with sophisticated computer, they're going to try to figure out the rules by which soccer is being played. So that's the dilemma. Can we do that?
So with that, and to keep it civil, thank you all for your thoughts today. I want to thank again the organizers from CIIRC. You put together a wonderful program. Nicoletta, thank you so much for your time and your hosting us. And I think that is the end of our program. And again, thank you for coming this evening.